You need to sell a big enough vision where everyone else's dream can fit inside of it. If you sell a small vision and people have a big vision and they walk into your organization, they say, wow, this person has a small vision. I have a big vision. I can't accomplish my vision being here. I'm going somewhere else. That's the way that it works. Today, we're going to be talking about leadership, specifically leadership development, and even more specific than that, why people never build and develop leaders in their business and in their organization. You know, if you guys have been following my channel for a minute, you know that leadership is everything. The world rises and falls on leadership. Everything great happening in this world is led by a quality leader, and everything falling apart in this world is lacking leadership. And so if you want to scale your business, scale your team, it's going to come down to the quality of your leadership, and not just the quality of your leadership, the quality of the leadership in your leadership team. The problem is it becomes very difficult to scale when there are certain things missing and or when there are certain things happening. And so what I want to go over today are 7 things that's keeping you from developing leaders in your business, and or 7 things that's keeping your people from developing leaders in their business. You know, one thing that I learned from John Maxwell years ago is that you never set out to lead 100. You set out to lead 10 that lead 10. And by default, you are now leading 100. You never set out to lead 1,000. You set out to lead 10 that lead 10 that lead 10. And now all of a sudden you are leading 1,000. It really comes down to the multiplication factor of leadership that ultimately leads to a company growing and a team scaling. And so let's talk about the 7 things that's going to keep you from developing leaders. Number 1, most people do general work hoping that it leads to leadership development, while great leaders do intentional work knowing that it's going to lead to leadership development. And that's a big difference. You know, if you're just showing up to your day thinking to yourself, if I just go through the motions, if I just work hard, if I just produce on my own, if I just am the standard, everyone else is just going to follow suit and I'm going to build and develop leaders. That is not the way that it works. The only way to develop and build leaders is to be extremely intentional. Intentional about the mindset that you're transferring into them, intentional about the skill set, intentional about the intuition, the intention around the strategy. Your job as a leader is to change the way your people think. Your job as a leader is to change the strategy that people operate with. And so that way they're using a strategy that actually leads to the W, that leads to success, that leads to winning, that leads to retention, that leads to other people winning at the level that you want them to win. And so you have to realize that if I'm going to scale, I can't just do general work. I can't just sell some things and think other people are going to pick up on it. I can't just work hard and expect everyone else to go work hard. I have to be intentional. Am I making sure that all the people that I am developing for a leadership role, do they truly understand the game? Do they truly understand it? Or are they just playing the game? There's a big difference between playing the game and understanding the game. In order to move somebody from player to coach, the only way to do that is to help somebody go from somebody that plays the game to somebody that understands the game. And that is your job. Can you teach them the game from 10,000 square feet so they know how to deal with people problems? They know how to lead people. They know how to inspire action. They know how the strategy that goes around it. They know that human nature is everything. Like, are you going out of your way to intentionally transfer the knowledge that you have into them so that way they can begin leading people regardless of whether or not you are there? So that is the first mistake that people make. They do general work, not intentional work, and that's why they do not grow. That's why they do not scale. The second reason on why people do not build leaders is ego. Ego, 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 ego. It's all about them. They need to be the person shining. And anytime somebody beneath them starts to shine, they get intimidated, they get insecure, and they dim the light of other people. That is the worst thing that you can possibly do. As a leader, one thing that you have to learn is to shine the light on your people every single time it gets shined on you. You know, I remember being 19, 20 years old, coming up in business, and we started to have some levels of success at a young age. And somebody who's one of my best friends now, who was a mentor to me at the time, I remember having a conversation with him. He said, Matt, you're young, you're starting to have some success. And naturally, because you're young and having some success, people are going to shine this bright light on you. And they're going to shine this bright on you. They're going to make you feel so special, and they're going to make you feel so seen. And the worst thing that you can do is absorb it and sit in it. He said the best thing that you can do is grab a mirror and reflect that light back onto your people and let everyone know that the reason you're winning is because you have an incredible team. And I remember him telling me that. And I really genuinely believe that one of the reasons that we've grown our business to what it is today is because he taught me that principle, that it's not about me, that the success that we were experiencing is not because I'm just this incredible human being, because it's not. The reason we have experienced the results that we have is because we built an incredible organization, an incredible team, and in no way, shape, or form would we be where we are at without the team that we've had the opportunity to build. And that needs to be your mentality. If your goal is to shine brighter than everyone else, you're going to struggle and you are going to filter out anyone with potential in your business. Anybody that can become somebody, anybody that wants to be somebody, they're going to filter themselves out. Because every leader, every person with an ego, which every leader has an ego, that comes into your organization, they want to be somebody. And if you always have to be a bigger person than them, you're going to always belittle them, and it's going to lead to them not wanting to be in your presence and not wanting to be around you. And that is not good. So the second biggest killer of why people don't build leaders is their ego. They need to shine brighter than everyone else. And so they dim the light of those around them, and it affects their ability to grow and it affects their ability to scale. Number three, the third reason on why people do not develop leaders in their organization is pride. Pride. It's their way or the highway. The problem with this is when it's your way or the highway, people don't feel seen, people don't feel heard. And if people don't believe that you're going to take any of their input, they stop coming to you. And if your people cannot trust you enough to bring you something, that is a problem. That means you are not leading, you are a dictatorship that people are trying to avoid, which is the complete opposite of what leadership should be. And so you have to realize that in order to develop leaders, you can't operate with high levels of pride. You have to realize that people have great ideas. They have great input. People that might have zero results on a leader's board might be one of the most valuable people in your business. And it's your ability to learn from everybody. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to implement everything, but your ability to learn from everybody and say, yeah, I might be having more success than someone else. I might be in this leadership role longer than someone else, but it doesn't mean they don't have good input. It doesn't mean they don't have good ideas. When I look at our business, the reason our business has scaled is, I really believe one of the biggest reasons is our ability to listen to everyone's ideas. I'm not the idea guy. For me, I'm more of the execution guy. And so when people bring ideas, my mindset is always, let's beta test it, let's try it. And if it works, we will scale it with all of our energy. And that's what we've done throughout the years. People who have never sold a single thing brought me sales things. People that were not successful just yet gave system ideas. And it was our ability to say, you know what? That's good input. Let's go to the drawing board with it. You know what? That's a good idea. Let's go to the drawing board with it. And it was our ability to be able to receive information from everyone and then go to the drawing board with it that led to us scaling the company. But if it's always your way or the highway, hey, this is how I do it. Your input doesn't matter. This is how we do it. Do as I say. If you are leading with authority, you are going to blow out every leader. Because guess what? Leaders have their own ideas. Leaders have their own input. Leaders want to do things their own way. And if you're not willing to listen to their way because it's your way or the highway, they're going to take a different highway and leave your business, which isn't good. So the third biggest killer of leadership development is pride. Always having to be right, always having to be in the position of control, always having to dictatorship over your people. That's the biggest killer of your growth. And that's going to kill your ability to build people. So that's number three. Number four, they are so good, they're no good. One of the reasons you're probably struggling to develop leaders is because you're too good. You're too good. You're too complicated. You're too complex. You're too knowledgeable. You are too skillful to the point that it makes people feel like they cannot do it. That's not good. Anybody that knows me knows that I like to be so simple, so easy a caveman can do it. I say the same thing every time, and my goal is not to be impressive. My goal is to be impactful, and that needs to be your mentality. Your goal is not to impress your people. Your goal is to impact your people in a positive way. If you are training someone and they think to themselves, man, I can never do it, that's not good. It feels good for your ego, feels good for your pride, but it's horrible when it comes to developing people. So you have to be simple enough that when people hear you, see you, that they think, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. Wow, that wasn't that hard. Wow, that wasn't that difficult. Okay, that makes perfect sense. This is easy. This seems simple. Your ability to make everything seem simple is so important. As people climb in business, they become more knowledgeable, more skillful, and they almost overtalk, they over communicate, they try to let everyone know how smart they actually are. And that intelligence actually makes other people feel doubtful about their own ability to win. It's your ability to keep things simple. It's your ability to keep things easy to learn that's going to make the difference. I want you to write this down. Fancy fails, simple scales. Fancy fails, simple scales. When you sound fancy and when you are fancy, it makes it very difficult to scale. But if it's just super simple, easy, steps 1, 2, 3, wow, that's so easy. Now all of a sudden you begin to grow, you begin to scale, and more leaders will be developed in your organization. So we can't be so good that we're no good. Number 5, they lack patience. They lack patience. And this is something that I struggle with. To lead people, you have to be patient. To lead people with ego, you have to be patient. And every big leader has a big ego. The biggest leaders learned how to channel it where it doesn't affect their business anymore in a negative way. But the biggest leaders in the world have a lot of ego. And I believe personally that God wouldn't have given us the ability to have an ego if there wasn't a use for it. But I also believe that everything's a double-edged sword. So when you have an ego and that ego keeps you from learning, the ego pushes people out, the ego belittles other people, the ego is cocky and arrogant, that is not a good way to utilize that ego. But if ego is the reason you compete, it's the reason you want to get better, it's the reason you're trying to improve, it's the reason you run faster than the next guy, it's the reason you're showing up earlier and staying later, that is a good use of ego. And so you have to realize that when people come into your business that are going to build something great, most big leaders have big egos. And if you don't have patience, then you are going to blow these people out. Patience is required in order to grow. Patience is required in order to scale. And patience will always be required when you are dealing with people. Here's the deal. Be extremely impatient about your goals and your dreams and your desires, but be patient with people because people is going to be how you get there. And if you are constantly blowing people out because you lack it, it's going to lead to a lack of retention, and it's going to lead to you not being able to keep people around. We have to learn to be patient. It's something that I struggle with myself, but it's something that as leaders, we have to fight to get better at each and every single day. Number 6, they're selfish with their time, their energy, and their money. Listen, guys, if you want to build people, it's going to require a lot of time, a lot of energy, and it's going to require capital. That is part of building people. And I think so many people are selfish with their time that they're not willing to give it to other people unless there's a guarantee, not realizing that the only way to truly help somebody grow is to invest that time before there is a guarantee. You know, there's a quote that I love, and it's a CFO having dialogue with a CEO. And the CFO, the chief financial officer, looks at the CEO and he says, hey, what if we invest in our people and they leave? And the CEO responds back to the CFO, what if we don't and they stay? And that is my mentality when it comes to investing in our people. You got to invest time. You got to invest energy. You got to be willing to invest money and capital into their development. And if you are willing to invest money and invest time and invest energy into those things, you're going to watch people begin to flourish so much faster. We have a guy in our organization, and he's here in San Diego, and he brought somebody into his business. And we operate a lot virtually. We do a lot of things in person, but a lot of our sales are virtually, a lot of our trainings are virtually. And he brought somebody into his business that's also here in San Diego. And we're holding this retreat. And I say, hey, you come and bring your best guy. And so he brings his best guy. His best guy has been here in business for about 5 months now. And they met for the first time at my house. And I was shocked because I didn't realize, I was like, what do you mean? He's been in business for 5 months. You guys are both here in San Diego and you guys haven't met? And he goes, no, we haven't met yet. And the only thing that went through my mind was, that's lazy leadership. That's lazy leadership. You have somebody that's in a leadership role. You have somebody that's within a 20-minute drive. They've been working together for 5 months. And the person in leadership has not gone out of their way to build a close bond. The person in leadership had not gone out of their way to build a close relationship. They haven't hung out. And that right there was so revealing to me on why they're exactly where they're at in business, because they're not willing to invest their time, energy, and capital into someone's development. They were looking to automate. They were looking to do things that are simple. They were looking to just stay on Zoom, hoping a leader would be built. And that's not the way that it works. Leaders are not built on Zoom. They might be trained on Zoom, but they're not built on Zoom. Leaders are built in person. Leaders are built spending quality time together. Leaders are built in a more strategic way where you're bonding, where you might be working out together, you might be around a bonfire having a cigar, you might be at dinner together, whatever it might be. Because in order to develop a leader, it's a transfer of energy, it's a transfer of influence, it's a transfer of ability, and you can't fully transfer that virtually. It requires you being in person. And so if you want to scale, you have to realize you're going to have to invest more time, more energy, and more money even before there's a guarantee, because the only way to guarantee the outcome is to invest up front and make sure that that reality happens. And then last but not least, number 7, the 7th reason on why most people don't develop leaders is they have zero vision whatsoever. And obviously we know biblically that where there's no vision, the people perish. And it's for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you don't have a vision for where you're going, and if you don't have a vision for where the company's going, and if you don't have a vision for where the organization is going, it lets me know that if I stay here, I might go nowhere fast. People want to follow somebody that knows where they're going. People want to follow somebody that has a confidence and conviction and certainty and belief in a better future, in a better outcome, in a better life, in a more quality of a world. People want to follow someone like that. I mean, heck, you look at Donald Trump, and this isn't a political thing, but what was the name of the campaign that led to him winning and taking on presidency? It's Making America Great Again. Make America great again. It was all about something that was bigger. Can we make this country great again? He was casting a vision of a great America. That's what led to the political response. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the biggest reasons that led to him being in office, is because he casted a vision that made people feel great about where the country was going. Your ability to do that in business is everything. Can you cast a vision about how great things are going to be, about how amazing things are going to be, about how successful their life is going to become? Can you cast a vision about where you're going, the difference you're making, the business you guys are building? Can you cast a vision? Guys, you need to sell a big enough vision where everyone else's dream can fit inside of it. If you sell a small vision and people have a big vision, and they walk into your organization, they say, wow, this person has a small vision. I have a big vision. I can't accomplish my vision being here. I'm going somewhere else. That's the way that it works. If somebody comes into your business, they come into your organization, and there's no vision for the organization, they're going to think, wow, I have a bigger vision than what this company can help me accomplish. I'm going to go somewhere else. People don't want to be a part of just another company. People don't want to be a part of just another business. People want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, which means you have to cast that vision. You have to cast that reality, not just one time, every day, all the time, 100% of the time. You have to be casting a bigger and better future. And if you could do this, you will attract leaders into your organization. You know, I look at our company and I look at the quality of people that we have coming into our company. I had a conversation with our leadership team this morning, and one of the things that I mentioned is that we are attracting just such quality people into our business. And one of the reasons is because we have a massive vision. We're going to become number one in the industry. We're going to do something that's never been done before. We're going to take care of our people. We're going to create more millionaires and more 7-figure earners than any other company in our industry ever has. We are going to help more families than any other platform ever has. We are literally changing the entire face of financial services right now. And we are attracting incredible people because they understand where we're going, and they understand that the vision that they have for their life can be accomplished here. If they lock onto our coattails and if they just follow us into the sunset, they're going to have a higher quality life too. Cast a bigger vision, or you will lose people. You will lose leaders. So these are the 7 things that keep people from building and developing leaders. And I just want to challenge you to look at the 7 and say, okay, what do I need to improve? What do I need to get better at? What do I need to change? What do I need to implement? And I want to challenge you to become a better leader for your organization. The quality of your leadership matters. The quality of your leadership matters. Let's all get better at this and watch the difference that we begin to make in this world. So guys, if you got something out of today, if you learned anything at all we ask is that you like, share, subscribe, you tell a friend about it. Obviously, we put out all this information for free. All we ask is that if you ever learn something, you tell a friend. With that being said, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.